15 minutes for our first on course. 15-minute call for the top of the order. Ten minutes out from the first on course. Holiday and Horses Grand Prix is sponsored by Arthramid. Early scratch at the 8th spot in the order. 8th in the order.
Hey, David, you're on channel 14?
Yeah, copy.
Are you getting signal on the mic?
What was that?
Are you getting signal on mic 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, copy that.
Perfect.
The flag is right there, so just face the flag.
Perfect.
And he'll be here to film. You have two guys here filming, so. But as long as you're facing the flag, the guy there is going to get a good shot of you. See him right there?
Yeah, perfect.
And since I'm gonna take a few photos with my phone, I can do there too.
Yes,
should I
but
go
you have to be like where on the side.
on the side.
Yeah,
There.
all the way on the
Go
side
around.
by the rock. Yeah,
Perfect.
like where the guy's going. You can stand like right there.
No problem.
All right.
No.
Welcome to Wellington International for the $200,000 Holiday Inn Horses 4-Star Grand Prix, presented by Arthramid Vets. Arthramid Vets is a trusted name in veterinary medicine around the world. A joint injection that delivers a cutting-edge treatment that improves joint health in horses and dogs, including both early and late stages of synovitis and osteoarthritis. Learn more at www.arthramidvets.com. We have a total of 41 competitors in today's class. I'm Ellen Sweetnam, and I'm joined today with Sammy Kasowitz. Thank you very much for having me, Sammy.
Thanks so much for having me, Ellen. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks. We have some exciting competitors in
It's about
today's class.
5
One of those
minutes
include
away from
World
the
Number
top
1
of the order
on
for
Brea,
our
which is
$200,000
always super
holiday
exciting to see
and
Kent in a
horses,
ring,
a
obviously World
four-star
Number 1,
Grand
and bringing
Prix
his top horse into
presented
us
by
here in
Arthramid.
Wellington International.
Arthramid
Sammy,
is a
looking at the
trusted
start
name
list,
in
was there
veterinary
anybody that
medicine around the world.
stood out to you? I know
Joint
that
injection
Nina
that
Malave
delivers
won
a
our qualifier, so
cutting-edge
obviously she'll be
treatment
one to
that
watch
improves the joint
in
health in
today's
horses
class.
and dogs,
Anybody else that you
including
saw
both
that
early
you
and
know
late
you'd
stages
put your money
of
on today?
synovitis and
I mean, I think we have a
osteoarthritis.
fantastic lineup
Learn
here
more at
after our 20-horse jump-off
arthramid.com.
the other day. I think there's a lot of great competitors.
We'll see 40
it's pretty
in
much
the first
anyone's
round of
game. I think it's always
competition. A
safe to put your money
scratch
on
in the
Kent. I think
8th
Shane
spot
Sweetnam's
in the
another
order.
solid pick. Aaron Ballard's always fast, and Nina Malave,
Before we
she-
get
the horse
underway
jumped
here
great.
this
She rode
morning, we'll review the
fantastic,
course.
so
That our
I
horse
think
and
it
rider
really is
combinations will
anyone's
take
game.
in round 1 for the Arthramid.
Yeah, it's so exciting
Grand
to have
Prix.
those top athletes with us. Aaron picking up that win in the speed
We'll start
yesterday.
in front of the table
Some
bank
more top athletes
at
that
the Palm
have,
Beach
you know,
County
are super
Sports
fast with us.
Commission
But
vertical.
today's course, it's big,
From
it's
there,
built
it's a
solid. It is a
left-hand
4-star
turn to
Grand
the
Prix here in
Dover
Wellington
Saddlery
International. So
Oxer, that green
riders really
oxer
have to
in
get over
front
that
of
first
the
round
bridge.
and make
From
sure
there, a
they
right-hand
put their
turn,
clears in.
rolling back to the
Today's time
Ariana
allowed is
vertical
set at
at
84
number
seconds.
3
So,
with
you know,
the
something we've seen
solid
throughout the
blue
week with our
pillars.
course building team here is time hasn't been a huge issue. You know, for a 4-star, it's not something we typically see.
Yeah, I think Anthony D'Ambrosio, I think he'll maybe crank the time up just a bit. It's a bit of a longer course. You have 14 jumps in this. I think we'll get a good idea after the first or second one go. I'm curious to see, there's a lot of lines that you can either do, one or the other. They're a bit longer numbers, so I think we'll get a good idea from that.
Yeah, just before we welcome in our first horse, we'll go through that course today. Number 1 will start over the Palm Beach Sports Commission vertical and then cross the ring to that Dover Oxer at 2. A nice tight turn back to the Ariane vertical at 3. And then rolling down to our presenting sponsor today, Arthramid Vets Oxer at 4. And then nicely down to that big fan vertical that's quite skinny at 5. Riders then have a little bit of time to loop back around. The big triple bar, that Brain Java triple bar, they're coming down to, rolling down that slight hill that we have here in Wellington International, jumping 7A and B. That's our Palm Beach Equine Clinic double. Then they roll back to that sandcastle vertical, very, very tall and, very delicate also. Riders then will pass the in-gate once again and we'll jump our wall at 9. Then rolling nicely down to that big Horseware Ireland Oxer at 10. Definitely a challenge that we might see cause a lot of problems today is that roll back to 11. That's a very big square oxer up that top end of the ring. Then horses loop back around to that Florida Coast Equipment vertical at 12. Coming down our last line, we head towards that butterfly triple combination at 13A, B, and C. And riders then just along the long side, finishing over that Bainbridge oxer at fence 14. Just before we welcome in our first horse, we will hear a singing of the Star Spangled Banner. Today we have Julia Falco, a 20-year-old. She is a junior in Florida Atlantic University, majoring in computer science. A lifelong performer, she has been singing across South Florida since the age of 8. Continuing to pursue her passion for music, she is honored to return to us at Wellington International, performing our national anthem today. So we'll just take a moment of silence for this, and anybody who can, please remember to cover and
Can you
stand.
see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Uh, Great to have
Thank you.
Julia Falco with us today in Wellington International. As we said, we are here for the 4-Star Grand Prix here in Wellington International for our first week of Holiday and Horses. Once again, I'm Ellen Sweeten. I'm joined today by Samantha Kasowitz. Sammy, thank you so much for being here today. We definitely have an exciting class ahead of us. Definitely a lot to watch. The first of those in today will be USA's Tanner Crockin. He is a board Khmer quality hero. This is a 12-year-old Irish-bred gelding out of OBOS. By OBOS out of a Magician Hero mare.
3-star winner and a Trionic.
Tanner's had a great run with this horse so far. He won the 2-star in Ocala this past summer. Now he's stepping up a bit to this higher level. He was on a few Nations Cup teams, 3-star level Nations Cup teams, so this is going to be an exciting round for him.
Yeah, something we've looked at throughout the last couple of days. I've been very fortunate to have some great riders up here with me for the last few classes. Is a lot about the development of younger US riders. We find over here people are now becoming super focused on the development of those younger riders and trying to produce those senior Nations Cup riders as well. Sammy, walking the course, was there anywhere in particular that you thought might be an issue that you guys flagged straight away that it could be a problem?
As you pointed out earlier, jump number 11, that whole line is going to be a little tricky, especially jumping into the bleachers if you have one that shifts a little bit. Definitely that rollback back to number 12. It's a plank. The top rail is black. And then also that last line, it's a bit of a boxy 5, but that oxer is pretty wide. Additionally, I'd say the number 3 to 4 to 5, you're going to have to get down there a bit. The Arthramid is a bit of a wider oxer, and that's going to be a boxy line as well.
So all over, it's a very, seems like a very even course. Definitely something we've seen from our building team this week is jumps come down pretty much everywhere. Yesterday, the only jump that didn't come down was our number one. So it's interesting to see that, it's always a great sign of course building for those obstacles to come down all around the place. Tanner just finishing up there on that. 4 falls there at 7A coming down and 3 time falls. So, he seemed to, go out a little bit wide and take his time. So definitely something that we'll have to look at throughout the round, because I don't think the riders are prepared for the time allowed to be tight because they haven't had one all week.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's hard too. You have that triple bar. You have to make sure you ride across it and give yourself enough room, and then immediately start decreasing before the double. It's a bit of a hard rail to have.
Yeah, for sure it is quite difficult. Second to go will be Tiffany Foster. She is aboard Battle Cry. This is an 11-year-old gelding out of Quick Dancer. These two picked up some top results during the summer, placing at a 3-star level, and also winning. Tiffany won her first 5-star Grand Prix in Canada last year, so it's great to see her choosing to come to us here in Wellington.
Yeah, she's had this horse for about 4 years now, and it's been a consistent partner of hers. See, she did 10 up that first line.
Is that something when you walked you thought it was going to ride 10, or was it a question?
10 seemed to be the normal number, but I think if you're a little bit more pressured for time, I think we're going to see some people do 9, especially those with bigger strides. Yep, the placement of that double is just tricky enough.
Sometimes you see it here, but as a spectator watching the ring and watching as people compete throughout the day, something you don't notice from that ring is that there is quite a downhill. And
Definitely.
that downhill from the triple bar, then you're coming down to a big double. It's definitely something that people aren't, you have to be super cautious of, and something people don't really see at home.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a lot different on the screen, that's for sure.
Yeah, coming home there with the 8 falls there for Tiffany Foster in 81.39. That first part of the double at 7A coming down, as well as that middle part of that triple combination. 81.39, nicely inside the time allowed. She seemed to not take strides out anywhere, and rode a very forward and flowing round.
Definitely. Tiffany's always very cognizant of the time allowed. I think she did the normal strided numbers throughout those longer lines and was just very efficient in her turns. That was really nice.
Just 2 very unlucky rails. Yeah, so we have 2 gone so far. Tanner Crockin just had that 1 down, but picking up 3 time falls, as well as Tiffany Foster with that 8 falls, but nicely inside that time allowed. So, Tommy, it's not something we think we might have such a problem with today. Just follow that trend of his building throughout the week, that everything's super forward and flowing, and he gives you that time to, really get your canter and keep that flowing throughout the course.
Definitely. And I think too there's certain parts of the course where you do have to be very efficient in your turns regardless of the time allowed. So I think that will play enough into keeping the jumps up.
Yeah, for sure. Third to go will be the USA's Christian Vanderveen. She is aboard Bull Runs Gyra. This is an 11-year-old Holsteiner gelding by Ukuro. These two actually picked up the win during pre-charity week here with us in the Grand Prix qualifier. So Christian's always a super fast rider. She's always someone to watch, always consistent with results. Her animals, she has such a great understanding of them. So definitely one you will be looking at, and also kind to see how she takes on the course, and she's a good benchmarker for those top horses and seeing what they can do.
Definitely. Like you said, she's always very fast. She's definitely one to watch. She's had so much great success with this horse.
As you see her going around, it doesn't seem that she's wearing any spurs, which is quite unique in a class this big, no?
Definitely. I don't quite recall if she tends to wear spurs on this horse or not. However, I did notice that she did 9 up that first line and 9 down to our sponsor jump. So I think she might be taking... Oh, that's a shame. That line is so tricky.
Interestingly, yesterday in the speed class, that Palm Beach Equine Clinic double was positioned around where 10 is, that horse for Ireland, and it was the vertical that came down the most in the class.
They're tricky rails. I mean, they're dark enough, but then also the gold tinge to it, it kind of blends into the sand.
And that's, you know, one of the great things we have here in Wellington International is the materials that we have, and that brings that extra caliber of technicality and that big jumping. That's unlucky, that 4 falls down into that triple combination. She seemed to be coming a little hot, but both her horse and herself, they backed off really nicely and came through that. Just very unlucky with that 7A coming down.
She was certainly inside the time, though, that's for sure.
She's always fast.
Never a problem for Kristen.
Time allowed will remain at 84 seconds. So typically the judging panel will have those 3 first horses to decide, and course building team and all deciding to keep that time allowed of 84 seconds. Fourth to go will be the USA's Ashley Vogel. She is aboard Otis Blue. This is an 11-year-old gelding. These two together have had great results over the summer in both Kentucky and Traverse City. This is a previous mount of trainer Shane Sweetenham, who competed with this horse at the League of Nations League a couple of years ago.
This has been a wonderful horse for Ashley to step up to the bigger level. He's scopy, he's brave, he has a fantastic stride.
These two really seem to have learned and developed so much over the last 12 months or so together.
Definitely. She might... she's going a bit wide there, but again, you want to make sure you have enough impulsion in there.
She rode that beautifully.
She did.
It's so unlucky coming down from that triple bar into that double. It's very difficult in what our team has really put together.
Definitely.
Looking at that Decra Oxer up that far end of the ring, it's at an angle that you're, one, jumping into the bleachers, but also you look at the banners across the ring and they're white with colours on them, which is the same colour as the Decra Oxer. So, you know, for a horse to see that, it's so difficult for them to be able to actually see the rails and that Oxer clearly.
Definitely. Well, that rail was unfortunate. That was a lovely ride from Ashley. I'm sure she'll be very happy with that, and nicely inside the time.
Yeah, very nice there. Ashley doing such a super job. As you said, the two of these growing so much together over the last 12 months, and really nice to see them back into the ring with us. Fifth to go will be the USA's Adrian Sternlick. She is aboard Fatical S. This is a 15-year-old gelding by Verdi.
Adrian's had this horse for quite a few years now. It's been a consistent partner of hers. She's very efficient with her time. I'm curious to see what she ends up choosing on those longer lines.
These two were recently had a top 10 finish in the World Cup qualifier at the Royal. So definitely coming in on a positive note here.
Definitely. She cantered up so nicely on that 9 on the first line. This horse has a massive stride. Number 5's delicate enough. I think so far everyone's been pretty respectful of it.
And when you walked it, is it a line that walks slightly, you know, even, or is it a little bit short or a little bit long, or kind of solid at that stride?
I think it's solid at that stride, but I think simply because number 5 is a skinny. It'll ride a bit more boxy towards the end.
And then I'm curious to see or to hear from you when you walk the line from 6 to 7, the triple bar to that vertical that we've seen come down so many times already. When you walked it, what way does that walk?
I personally thought it walked a little short, but that's probably mostly in regards to the fact that the triple bar is so wide and you'll land farther in down the line. And then you already have to back up for the in of that double.
Yeah, people seem to be landing super, off that triple bar, which is, not typical, I guess. And nobody seems to have to really pull down the line. It seems to be coming up nicely. Adrian giving us a clear jumping false, but unfortunately picking up that 5 false time-wise. But, you see that smile on her face. She's definitely happy with how that went. It's great to get a clear round in today's class. It's a big class. It's just unfortunate with those time falls.
Yeah, that was a great ride. Maybe she went a little wide in a few spots, but overall a really great solid round.
It is quite difficult when you have that big animal that trying to contain them and be able to have that connection with them, but also not wasting time so much.
Definitely. You really have to pay attention to how wide you go in your turns.
Currently in the ring, we have Skylar Riley. She is aboard booster 13. This is a 9-year-old Holsteiner gelding by Barclay.
Skylar's been developing this horse for about 2 years now. This is stepping up to a higher level for her, and it's been going great. She's done a wonderful job with it. We added a bit of a rain element to our course today, so
Seems
that
to
might
come out of nowhere.
That's Florida, right?
Yeah. But as you said, she's been producing this over the last 2 years. It's definitely something that is a topic of conversation these days, is trying to create that, the next 5-star horse for a rider, and especially those who have been at the top, to step back from the top and be able to take that time to develop those horses is a very difficult thing to do, but it's also a humongous talent.
Oh, definitely. It's also a bit of a waiting game as well. You have to be very patient to do so. 7A came down a bit late there. That was interesting. It looked like she was okay. Had a good rub there, but it stayed up.
That triple combination is riding quite nicely, and then
Oh, that 5 is just so boxy, though. It's hard because you want to make sure you have enough impulsion to get across that back rail. And I wouldn't be surprised if those blue rails are blending into the stands that are not far behind.
Yeah, picking up those 2 down there, but just very unfortunate rails, and picking up some time faults as well. The time allowed, something the first couple we didn't think was so much of an issue, but maybe these people have watched and thought like, oh, it's fine, we don't need to put pressure on, because Christian van der Veen was so fast inside it. But it's definitely something people still have to have at the back of their brain.
Definitely. I think the course is delicate enough that it's a fine line between making sure you're inside the time allowed, but also respecting the jumps enough.
7th to go in today's class will be the USA's Delaney Flynn. She is aboard Cassinia. This is an 11-year-old Holsteiner mare.
Delaney's done a wonderful job with this mare. She's really stepped up over the past year, really. This horse has a big stride. I spoke to Delaney when we were walking the course. Her plan was to, do the option of a leave out in those longer lines, and it seems like she's sticking to it so far.
You can see her really moving up around to this triple bar. She's definitely cautious of the time allowed and knows that this is something she'll have to watch.
Definitely. That was a great ride there.
Sure, that's super. Delaney's been in the industry for so long, and she has so much experience riding every sort of animal there is, and days like today and jumping those big classes, it really stands to her, because she's gritty, she knows what she needs to do, she's able to move up but also adjust, and she knows Cassie well enough to also know what she needs to be able to do that.
Definitely.
Just really concentrating now and straightening up for that triple combination.
Shoot. seemed like she gave it the triple enough respect back there. Maybe, like you said, a bit of the downward curve in this ring, and I'm sure too, the triple you have an oxer in, so you have to make sure you have enough impulsion, and then the 2 to the 1 is verticals, and so you have to be able to back up quick enough, but then also have enough impulsion to get down that 5 as well.
Yeah, I think also something we have to kind of take into consideration is the fact that it's the last line.
Definitely.
Horses are tired, they're getting flat as they're going around, and our course building team is amazing, but everything's super flowing, so you kind of gather that canter and become a little bit flatter as they're going along, which is a very hard task to do when you're in a 4-star that you have to keep flowing in.
Definitely.
Currently in the ring, we have Germany's Rupert Karl Winkelmann. He is aboard Amado. This is a 12-year-old gelding out of a Tamara mare.
Rupert had a great win with this horse just a few months ago.
Oh yeah, he won that 3-star Grand Prix in Tryon, right?
Yes, yes.
That was late also.
That was very late. It seemed like he gave it a good ride in and then balanced back enough. That rail is just so sensitive, even if you breathe on it. This wall is set in a pretty good spot as well. You have to go past the in gate and then make sure you have enough to get across. Again, with the majority of the wall being the color of the footing, it blends in.
That's something we've seen a lot actually by our course building team is the jumps around the in-gate. He's really testing those horses to keep that concentration past the in-gate, and he gives them a nice bit of time for that wall at 9, but the turn from 2 to 3, he has not, you guys are rolling back on nothing to come to a very large vertical that's literally standing at the in-gate.
Definitely, especially with the water tray under it as well.
Just unlucky there with the 4 falls there at 7A. Time there 83.56. So nicely inside that time allowed 84 seconds. He did what he needed to do, which is all you need to really.
Yep.
So still waiting for that first clear. Next in we welcome the USA's Charlotte Jacobs. She is aboard Instrumental. This is a 10-year-old mare out of or by a Indrakro mare. These two have been super successful together, picking up some top results in Traverse City and Kentucky and all. She's also part of that major league circuit, so picking up some top placings there. And Charlotte also part of that Team USA all women's team here during the Nations Cup last year, and they took that top spot, which is always great to see.
Yeah, that was a wonderful win for USA.
Preseason is such a nice and interesting time of the year that you get to see people's bring out more horses, bring out their second string, bring out, the horses that they hope to bring and step up to WEF this year, but they're really testing the waters during this week and preseason and over the period of time that we have jumping here before WEF starts.
Definitely, especially with that added 3-star that we had earlier this month as well.
You could see her really took a hold there and it worked out for her.
Definitely, that was great.
Charlotte's such an amazing rider. Her elegance, her style, that equitation that you guys grew up with here in the US, it definitely stand to her riding. And now training with Kent is definitely an added benefit for her. Just unlucky with that Oxer, that front rail of Oxer 10 coming down.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Just unlucky there. That Oxer, that Horseware Ireland Oxer at 10 coming down, which is the first time we've seen that come down today. Going down that line, she seemed to really have to fight with her to come back. Did she choose? I didn't count properly, but did she choose to add down that line?
You're saying down the last line?
To the Oxer, that Horseware Oxer, because she seemed to really have to fight her to try and fit that in, and that didn't really work out for her.
Oh, that's a shame. You know, to me up here, I could have easily miscounted. I'm pretty good in that. But it looked like she did that 7 to me.
She is a very big strided horse, so maybe instrumental landing from that and just a little bit far, landing a little bit far off it, and Charlotte really having to fight with her to come back for that oxer. 11th to go will be Gavin Moyland. He is aboard Memphis, is an 8-year-old gelding. These two also competing with us during the 3-star Pre-Charity Week here in Wellington International. Also picking up some top results during the summer together, finishing in the top 10 in a 3-star winning round in Saugerties as well.
Gavin this past season has been on the 3-star developing Nations Cup teams that we had in Europe.
We speak a lot about, a lot of Nations Cup, 3-star Nations Cup, the development of that 5-star Nations Cup. A lot of those are in mainland Europe. It's very hard for the US to, guys have to travel and spend a lot of money to go to Europe. And we've seen some new 3-star Nations Cup, including the one in Traverse City, and there's one in Canada now. So really getting you guys the opportunity to step up and get that practice.
Yeah, it's great. I'm excited to see how that continues to develop.
That vertical at 7A is really going to be something to watch. I wonder, typically there might be a situation that arises that people are now conscious of it for the, maybe after the drag, and it doesn't seem to come down so much, but people are definitely cautious of the vertical, but it just seems to be so difficult.
Oh, definitely. I think, it's one of those things you have to get across that triple bar before you can worry about it. But I think, like you said, I'm curious to see after the drag goes in if people become more respectful of it, or horses rather.
Coming home there with the 8 jumping faults and picking up some time faults also. But coming down that line, there's not so much more you can do differently.
No, it's a lot of it too is just what distance appears. The luck of the draw, what distance comes up for you to that triple bar, and then from there you just have to do everything you can with what you're given.
Yeah, exactly. Our winner from our speed class on Thursday, Niall Nasser, comes into us next. He is aboard SNL Maracana. This is an 11-year-old gelding by Lucky de Reverdy. These two, this is a previous mount of Mark Blumen, not always super fast with Mark. He picked up some top results, top placings, and Niall really seems to have hit the ground running with it.
Definitely, they've had great success in their short time together. Niall's also one to watch that is very, very good with the time allowed. Use that turn really nicely. Ideally, that's how you would like that for the one to ride. Now the sun came back out for us.
Yeah, we're gonna bit of change of weather for these horses. They kind of have to deal with everything in South Florida. Unlucky. That's the first time we've seen that come down today.
He really picked up his pace after jump number 10, keeping in mind that time allowed. And again, it's just maybe the way that jump is set.
I'm sure everybody pre-class is coming up with plans of where they can, move up and spare that time, but also not jeopardizing the next jump. And I think it's somewhere where it was a great plan to move up, coming to a square oxer. You want to have that impulse underneath you, but also quite difficult to clear a very square oxer doing something like that.
You'd think if it was set on a just slightly different angle, maybe that would be a bit of a different scenario, but having white poles, white standards, being right there against the rail, like we said.
13 to go in today's class will be Celso Rani. He is aboard Jip van TNLZ. This is a 12-year-old gelding out of a Toulon mare. These two picked up a 5th place finish in a 3-star Grand Prix in Kentucky before coming back down to us here in Florida.
Yes, and that Grand Prix in particular was very difficult. I think there were only 2 that jumped with just 1 or 2 time faults. There were no clear rounds in that Grand Prix. Interesting. Celso chose to do the... Oh, no, he did the 6. My bad. Had to ride up a bit for it.
You could see he landed a little bit sticky from that triple bar and had to push to make that line, and just, you know, isn't ideal when you're coming down to the vertical that's come down the most in the class.
Definitely. That turn going back to the triple bar as well slows them up a bit.
And you really can't cut your corner because you're 1 going past the in gate and 2 coming to a wall.
Exactly.
We're very fortunate here in Wellington to have such high caliber of course building, and I mentioned the materials and all of that, but the team here are really good at assessing their class and knowing what they can do and really building to the specs also. You're jumping a 4-star Grand Prix, you have to build to certain specs as well. A total of 10 there, 8 jumping and 2 time faults. That vertical of 5 coming down for the first time today, it's not typically something we've seen, or I think it's something you kind of point out because it's a skinny white vertical with white background on light colored sand, but that's the first time we've seen it today, and he was our 13th to go.
Yeah, interesting. I believed that it would cause a few more problems, but maybe we'll see it later on as well.
Next to get the start for round 1 of the holiday and horses.
Next to take on today's course is Blissiers. She is aboard Franjo Dismac. This is a 10-year-old stallion by Carjo. Also out of a Cannon mare. So Cannon's obviously a very famous stallion that we see time and time again, but it's interesting to see at this level how much of these animals have, you know, similar sires, similar mares, similar, the mare is out of a similar sire. So it's great to see the diverse and also the development of the breeding, but also the solid stallions are producing great horses.
Definitely. Cannon, you see so many horses, the offspring of Cannons. They're great, and it's interesting. They all have similarities, but I think this one in particular looks a bit more upright than most of the Cannons I've seen.
It's more hot than you typically see from them.
That as well, yes.
Show that really nice.
Really, really nice.
The sun is really starting to glare off that wall there. That's definitely something that the horses are going to be a little bit cautious of.
Definitely. Especially too, even the way the light is hitting the tent right now, I can only imagine what it looks like down in the ring.
That is really something that's an added technicality, but difficulty is to be able to go into a ring like that. But it's also good training. You know, we are a spectator sport. We have spectators here on big nights, and the place is packed, so it's definitely something riders have to be used to. So unlucky there, clear jumping, but picking up that 5 time falls for Bliss. That's so unfortunate when you have a horse that's so hot and you have to keep them contained. It's so difficult, trying getting at that time allowed and still giving the jumps the respect that they deserve.
Definitely. Such a fine line. I'm sure she'll be very happy with that round though.
Yeah, definitely happy. Probably frustrated a little bit, but definitely happy for sure. It was solid. The horse jumped amazing. Next in, we welcome Hallie Grimes. She is aboard Caroline of Balmore. This is a 15-year-old mare by Diardo.
Hallie's had great success with this mare. She won many classes in the U25 division along with many other FEI classes, and previous to her, Ashley Bond had great success as well.
Yes, for sure. She won the Rolex Grand Prix, right, on the grass a couple of years ago with her.
Yes.
Hallie, another one of the younger US riders that are concentrating on the development for that Nations Cup level and practicing, getting there to a high caliber. She jumped on the 3-star Nations Cup team this year in Drammen, so starting to get that exposure at the senior level, and really someone to, a younger US rider that is someone to watch. And she's concentrating on that development and being able to step up the ranks, and being called on, she's able to step up to it.
Definitely. Hallie spent some time in Europe as well, really immersing herself in the development of the horses, and also has had great success in the development divisions here. I think it was 2 years ago she won the 7 and 8-year-old division in Traverse City.
She has great young horses, and her and her family are huge horse people, and they're concentrating so much on development. But Hallie's able to go into a class like this, and she was the winner of the under 25 series last year, but she's also very much focused on her younger horses and developing them and what's best for them, and she is really a horsewoman that researches what she needs to do and is not afraid to ask the professionals for help, which is an amazing thing to see in our industry.
Definitely.
She's another one similar to Bliss, that she'll probably have to watch that time allowed. Caroline is such a forward mare, but also Hallie has to contain her so much to keep that concentration for her. She's always super excited in the ring, always wants to take on the jumps, always wants to go there, but you have to really manage her energy, and it's something Hallie. So it's really nice to see her back into our ring and still able to produce those results with such a phenomenal horse. They're such a good partnership, and they really have. Hallie has worked so hard with her and has really been focused on getting to that point with her and reaching those top results.
Alexandra Worthington to show next, another top
there we go, Hallie walking out of the ring there, nice big smile on her face. I know she's going to be so happy with that, and it's great to start off your pre-season with such a positive note, and in a class that she's our first clear out of 15 we've seen.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Next in, we welcome Alexandra Worthington. She is aboard a 12-year-old gelding. These two have been super successful together. I think Ali refers to him as a horse of a lifetime. She's been able to jump Nations Cups with him. She's been able to develop him throughout the years and really have that partner with him.
This has been such a great horse for her. Ali's had Frank for a number of years now. Her trainer and partner, Declan McGarry, has actually had this horse since he was a young horse. I believe she got him when he was 7 years old, so they know each other pretty well.
I think he was on her radar before that, and she's really saw the development of him in Europe over as a very young horse.
Yes.
He's so gifted. He's a horse that doesn't jump typical, like he's not something that style you see so often, but he knows his job, and Ali and, as you said, Declan, they do an amazing job of producing him up to this level and making sure that he is the horse he's become.
Definitely. And he's for a bigger horse, he's quite fast across the ground through those turns, and she's also doing a good job staying aware of that time allowed.
She's so soft with her hands. You really see her when she comes to that jump. She just lets him do what he needs to do.
Oh, that was a bummer at the last.
I was so unlucky. That front rail coming down with just lagging a little bit in behind, but just very unfortunate there, Ali Worthington, just picking up that 4 faults at that last Oxer.
Yeah, that was a great round. Time was great. That last jump doing exactly what Anthony D'Ambrosio planned for it to do.
Just that one clear so far, Hallie Grimes, that clear with Caroline of Balmore.
Turkey up next, 3 wins in FEI action here at Wellington International this season for a Turkey Selçuk Kapsalan. The round aboard court is Totalis Z. 12-year-old hangers at a gelding.
Just that one clear so far. We are welcoming our next athlete into the ring now. He is aboard a 12-year-old Zangerzade gelding. Out of a Turbolina Z. These two together spending their time in Europe and also coming to us during pre-charity week, and I think he's picked up about 3 wins so far with us pre-season, which is great to see and great for him to come and get that result.
Yes, Selkuk is a very good competitor, and he is one to watch even in those amateur divisions here. Very fast rider.
He really came down to that double and really tried to do his best and let the horse do what they needed to do. But that first part of 7A is incredibly difficult. It'll be interesting to talk to the riders afterwards and see their perspective of why they are riding that and that's coming down so often.
Yeah, definitely. And A being set the way it is makes the back rail of B even harder.
And also, you're coming into a delicate vertical, but coming out in a big square oxer. So you could imagine the horses are looking at that rather than that vertical.
And then following that, you have to look in and be prepared for that fragile vertical.
Yeah, true. And then you're rolling back. And I think that's the 4-star. You're up to that level that you don't have a second to breathe. You really have to start and keep going.
Definitely.
Ansgar Holsker Jr. comes in next. He is aboard Pixel K. This is a 10-year-old gelding out of a Chin mare. These two, Ansky spending his time in Europe this summer. He's someone we always point out. He won his first 4-star Grand Prix last year on the grass, and he's an athlete that is so beyond his years.
Definitely. He's really stepped up over these past few years, had great success with his string of horses.
His team behind him and they're planning for the future and, executing a plan very steadily over the last couple of years is a talent, and it's great to see that they're not rushing him, because I'm sure he could go into a 5-star and ride it no problem. But it's great to see that development of him and just really focusing in on trying to, giving him the best opportunity to become, one of the best in the world.
Yes, definitely.
That vertical at 7A coming down once again.
Yeah, and you see the oxer then gets a little wide depending how you land there.
He's someone that I watch that I always looking at a spectator, it looks like he has such good connection with his horse. He gives them that support and has his leg on them for support, but also doesn't frighten them with too much force.
Definitely, and Ansgar is a very tall individual. He has amazing body control and has really figured out how to use his strength to his advantage.
For sure. Just that 4 falls there in 80.56, that Palm Beach Equine Clinic, first part of that double, coming down for the 9th time today out of the 18 we've seen.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it a lot more as well.
It really seems to be a vertical that people are struggling to figure out.
It's just, and like I had said, the color of it makes it hard to read for the horses and the riders.
Yeah, for sure, definitely has that added element into it. Next in, we welcome Molly Ashcali. She will be our first of 2 before we welcome in our tractors for that drag break. She is aboard Quim Delamasque. This is an 11-year-old gelding by Quismo Z. Interesting enough, this horse competed at the South American Games with Daniel Bedoyo in 2022. So experienced horse, a newer mount for Molly, and she's already picked up some top results together. They were 5th in a 5-star Open at the Hampton Classic this year.
Molly's such a fantastic rider. I remember seeing her show this horse one of its first times this past summer at Split Rock in Kentucky, and they've melded together quite nicely.
That's the first time we've seen that triple bar come down. You would think she's cautious of 7A.
Yeah, exactly.
But Molly's such a gifted rider. She's unbelievable at what she does. She has great style. She's another athlete. You put her on any horse and she's going to do her best and produce a great result. And, a horse family, obviously her daughter Taylor producing super results. One of those younger American riders that we'll 100% see on 5-Star Nations Cups in the future.
I believe so as well. Great ride down that 5.
Yeah, just unlucky with that 4 falls coming at that triple bar at fence 6. As I said, the first time we've seen that come down today, and you would be led to believe that she's a little bit cautious of the vertical at 7A. So riding that triple bar a little bit more cautious than she probably would have typically jumped a triple bar.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, Ellen.
Last to go before we have that midway drag break is Peter Lutz. He is aboard Katerina. This is a 10-year-old mare by Cannon, so another Cannon relative here, Cannon child. These two picked up some top results during pre-charity week, top 10 finish in the Grand Prix qualifier, also picking up some top 10 results throughout the summer in New York. Just unlucky, that first vertical coming down.
That was a bit surprising.
It is an awkward vertical. We talked about the colours and the white against the white banners, but it's also against the side of the ring, wedged up against the side of the ring, and that's something typically horses sometimes don't like. You see some horses getting that fear of being trapped inside there, and it's something, and it's not a huge vertical. You have so much room to it, which is that extra added benefit. You're just floating down to a big vertical.
And the way number 2 is set as well, it comes up fast enough that you almost have to be looking ahead as you're crossing the first jump. So, making sure you're straight at that vertical and then immediately then focusing on the next.
Because that is a walking line. You can't just ride off your eye to 2. You really have to look at your numbers.
You could, but then you would probably then get a time fault.
Yeah, true. Peter just coming home with that 8 falls there. Unlucky that vertical at 1 coming down as well as that first part of 7A. Palm Beach Equine Clinic vertical at 7. So we've seen 20 so far, and we only have that 1 clear. That clear coming from Hallie Grimes, doing a super clear round in a time of 81.80. Looking at the course and the way that it was designed, there's very few jumps that haven't come down. Super even, yes, 7A has come down 10 times in 20 people, so it's definitely a bogey fence. But overall, a lot of other obstacles coming down, which is, great course building is exactly what you want to do.
Definitely. I was surprised that the jump number 3 didn't come down more just because of the color of the rails, the placement of it, the water tray beneath it. But it seems, we've had pretty much all the jumps come down.
Yeah, which is a great thing to see from our course building team. And as you can see in your screens now, Hallie Grimes are only clear so far, but we still have another 20 to see. And for those of you who are watching at home, our order today is in reverse order from the qualifier. So Nina Malave will be last to go, and she's our winning rider. So those last couple at the bottom will be in reverse order, or sorry, all of them today will be in reverse order. So it's definitely something to consider in the second half of today's course.
Definitely, we have a lot of strong riders left to go.
Yeah, definitely a lot of strong riders to see, some exciting combinations, and you see there on screen those jumps coming down everywhere, some highlights of today's round, and that vertical at 7A just continuously coming down, but there's not so much you can do off that triple bar is the difficulty of it.
Yeah.
You also you land from 5 and you don't have so much room, but those riders are using that time to make up time allowed.
Definitely.
And then you're coming in hot.
Definitely. And again, depending how you use that turn, you have to be careful you don't end up on an angle, which then makes that triple bar even wider and then puts you even closer in on the double.
Yeah, for sure. Just watching some highlights there for you guys. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. We're going to do a quick touch-up of the jumps and our ring crew in dragging our ring. So tune back in about 10 minutes to get the second half of today's $200,000 Holiday Inn Horses 4-Star Grand Prix presented by Arthramid Vets.
Championships are powered by nutrition. Nutrina Pro Force feeds fuel your horse's every step, whether you're navigating a grueling course, executing a half pass, or galloping to the final fence. Powered by Digestive Shield for optimal gut health and rebound technology for faster recovery, ProForce supports your horse's peak performance so they're ready to dominate again. ProForce. Defend. Recover. Perform.
Nobody tells you how quickly they move into your heart, or how quietly they become your whole world. They'll teach you patience without a word, courage without a question. You're not crazy. They just don't know horses like we do.
Bainbridge is a fully integrated multifamily real estate company who have developed and acquired more than 43,000 units, representing $8.1 billion in transactions since inception. With over 650 associates nationally, Bainbridge engages in virtually every step of the real estate process, from development and construction, acquisition and disposition, asset management, and third-party management of multifamily real estate. Bainbridge is an award-winning, nationally ranked developer, owner, and builder of luxury multifamily communities across the eastern U.S. and Southeast. Our team of experienced and knowledgeable professionals is devoted to creating exceptional living experiences for all of our residents and building lasting and mutually beneficial relationships with our partners and clients. Bainbridge is headquartered in Wellington, Florida, with offices and apartment communities in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Maryland, Texas, and Virginia. To learn more, visit www.bainbridgecompanies.com.
In competition, there is always a line. Sometimes it is set by someone else, a finish line, a time on the clock, a height to be cleared. Other times, we draw it ourselves as a discipline to be mastered, a goal to be achieved, a personal record to be broken. The line dares us to cross it. This line is the difference between joy and despair, success and disappointment. We chase it because we know that in some way it is a measure of our worth. And when we cross it, we do so not as an end in itself, but as the beginning of the next chapter. VitaFlex, the fine line between good and great.
Welcome back to Wellington International. We've seen 19 so far in our $200,000 Holiday Inn Horses 4-Star Grand Prix presented by Arthramid Vets. 20 so far, and we only have that one clear. I'm Ellen Sweet, I'm back with you again, and I have Samantha Kasowitz still with me. The first to take on that course after that drag break will be the USA's Lacey Gilbertson. She is aboard one of her new mounts. This is Bellamy. This is a 9-year-old mare by Bacado de Muse, excuse me. Newer mount for Lacey, horse picking up super results in Europe before Lacey purchasing and bringing her over here. Super exciting mount for Lacey today.
Yeah, this is honestly the perfect horse for this course. Very quick across the ground, very light.
She's such a super mare, and we, over the last couple of days we've spoken about that Lacey has a particular style of horse. She's a very good rider on any horse, but she loves her hot mares and her bay mares in particular. And this is a very exciting combination for her. And, some of her older, better horse, Carly, is, coming out the other end of her career. And it's great to see that Lacey is getting to have those top horses to stay up at that level. There we go.
She came in hot there, but backed up really nicely.
And she did great of landing and backing up, so she was able to give the mare, not fight her to the whole way to the butt of the vertical. We're talking about there. That vertical at 7A, and Lacey doing such a good job. But that Oxer up top, that Decra Oxer at the far end of the ring coming down there for Lacey.
Yeah, hind legs, it looked like she was just preparing for that turn back to the plank.
Just unlucky there, Lacey coming home with that 8 falls in 82.20. So nice inside that time allowed, but as we said, a newer mount for Lacey. So she's definitely still getting to know the mare. They're definitely someone we're going to see in the future that have, a lot of fun together. And Lacey's always a super competitive rider and a jump off. So it'll be great to see the two of them develop their relationship together and also, get those top results when the time is right for them.
Germany's Tiara Bleischer now top 10
next in, we welcome Germany's Tiara Bleischer. She is aboard Oliver. This is an 11-year-old gelding out of an Argentina's mare, or stallion, excuse me.
Tina had sorry about that. Good. She had a wonderful round in the welcome. So I think she jumped clear, actually.
We're kind of getting to that stage now. We had 20 clear in the first round of that Grand Prix qualifier. So we're hitting all the clear rounds that we got in the first round now, that second half of the course.
Hind rail came down late.
I was fortunate enough, I ran down to the in-gate during the break and just talking to some athletes, curious of why 7A is such a difficult line, and it's very much dependent on that triple bar. The consensus is you have to get a good shot to that triple bar, and some people are having to land and push depending on their landing, and then some people are having to land and hook the whole way down, and some people are also able to just float, and it's coming up in a way that it's hard to protect your horse off that big vertical.
Yeah, like you said, it's really just dependent how you jump in on that line, and a little bit of luck as well.
And those black poles are definitely not helping the situation as well as the gold, for sure.
Definitely.
25th to go will be Karen Pole. She is aboard Celine. This is a 15-year-old mare by Contargos. I love these two. They're always super consistent. The horse is, so fast and careful, and it'll be interesting to see how she takes on today's round. The only one clear so far, which is Hallie Grimes, and Hallie on a very hot, bloody mare.
Yeah, this is a bit of a hot mare as well. She's very quick on her feet. Karen's had her for a number of years now, competing at the top level.
It's also great to see, you know, owners and riders choosing to keep their top horses and develop them along and have that partnership to have fun and you know, consistently get some results.
Definitely. Oh, that's a bit of a shame there. It looked like Celine just shifted a little bit over the top of the jump.
She was able to float and just keep contact.
Yeah.
She did, you know, she got a great shot into that triple bar, which obviously aided the whole situation down the line. It's always great to see in the, you know, the second half of a class to see what jumps what jumps change, what jumps didn't come down the first round and are coming down the second round, or vice versa, which is always a fun development throughout the course.
What do you think that is, Alan? You think just enough people get enough time to watch?
I think so. Typically, it's, you know, you watch, and it's super important to watch and have a member of your team if you can't yourself, and just looking at where the issues are, because, you know, people walked the triple bar to the double, and it was nothing straight away people were flagging. Yes, it's a very big vertical with delicate rails, but I don't think anybody called it was going to be the most difficult jump in the course. It came down 10 times out of 20 athletes, or less than 20 athletes we saw in the first half.
Yep.
Next to take on today's 4-star Grand Prix is Ashley Bond. She is aboard Nightwish. This is a 9-year-old gelding. These two, super fast. Ashley always super competitive. They won our speed during 3-star pre-charity week with us.
Ashley's so good at just trusting the horse's stride, whipping back on those turns. It's definitely a huge reason she is so good with the time allowed.
She was saying that, you know, Ashley's really much focusing on the LA. Cut across, you're really going to slice across. You can't really. You're going to slice into the crowd, or, you know, into that VIP club. But you land from that vertical, that very delicate plank, and you kind of have to go up to that far end gate to get that line into the triple combination, which obviously plays a part of time allowed.
Definitely, and it's hard too because of the angle it's set at following the plank. Okay, yes, it's on a straightaway, but it's pressed up against the rail.
Reapproached and no problem at all. It just seemed to have not come up the way she really wanted it to. 8 jumping faults there, and we have a 6 time faults added on there for the refusal. Still holding out on that first, or just the one clear. You could just see the replay there, just a little bit of a miscommunication coming down to that triple combination. But as we said, it's so difficult to see for the horses with the white banners as well as the surface, and there's you never know what they see that we can't see ourselves.
Definitely.
Next in, we welcome another team member from Team Israel. This is Vanessa Hood. She is aboard Klitschko 17. This is a 12-year-old Hanoverian gelding by Christian 25. This horse has competed up to a super high level. The two of them together are actually competing at the European Championships this year? The last one. This horse has really given Vanessa that horsepower to jump at that top level, which is great to see.
Definitely.
Another one with a great string of horses. We've seen her on several different horses over the last couple of days, and it's really nice to, you know, see pre-season these riders can bring 2 horses. It gives you that extra.
Vanessa, strong, clear round following the welcome.
We spoke briefly earlier about how, the likes of Aaron Ballard and these riders, Delaney Flynn being another one that has had so much experience on different types of horses, and one of those riders being Peter de Brabandier, working for Marty Huggins. He's definitely been given great opportunities, and Marty does a great job of producing horses. He has such great quality horses that he has here in Wellington and, all over the world. And he has kept this horse for Peter and chose not to sell it and let him jump at this such high level, which is an amazing attribute out of a sales barn.
Definitely. Peter's gotten the great opportunity to ride all different types of horses, keep getting in the ring. This one's been really strong for him, and he's had a few really great horses at this FEI level.
He came to the US last preseason, I believe, and really came in hot and, came in, got good results, jumped in the 3-Star Nations Cup last year. And, the team that they have with Marty has been amazing, and you really see the development of Peter over the last year or so.
It's interesting, too, because obviously, there are great horse shows all over the world, but WEF is like a different level. Mm-hmm. And so to come in and ride that well and confident and everything is not easy to do.
Because you come to WEF to compete with the best at the best, Mm-hmm. We have great materials, we have great footing, we have great building, great horses. We have, all the top riders come to us, and you get to come and compete in Wellington International, particularly during WEF, against the best on their best horses, and then you're competing against the best. You want to be the best.
Definitely.
Oh, so unlucky there. Peter just having that final fence down. That was next in. We welcome Ireland's Shane Sweetnam. He is he's produced results to such a high level. He's so fast. When you put him in there, he'll give anybody a run for their money.
He's pretty good at doing that on any horse,
yeah,
though, I will say.
It's also great to see out of these top athletes, the top in the world are coming to us, but they're bringing those second horses. They're concentrating on producing those second string. Shane has a very good horse. James Conn Cruz is a phenomenal horse, but you also look at the age and how long more you have in him, and Shane is focusing in on the development of the next one.
And he has such a great string right now. So many top level horses.
He does such a good job of finding them and producing them and getting them up to that level. And some I'm sure he sells and he doesn't want to, but that's also part of the game. And he's able to spot the next one and produce a good result.
That was great.
Shane going clear there in 81.52, giving us our third clear. So as I said, this is in reverse order from the qualifier, so typically we will see a few more clears in the second half, but exciting to see some different nations going into the jump off today. So we have the USA's Hallie Grimes, as well as Israel's Vanessa Hood and Ireland's Shane Sweetnam. Very exciting class we've seen so far. Next in, we will welcome Jad Dana. He is aboard Hitchcock de Dems. This is an 11-year-old gelding by Calvaro Mare. These two also super fast, always picking up results. During pre-charity week, the 3-star, they were 6th in the Grand Prix, also placed in the Grand Prix qualifier that week, and they won a 2-star Grand Prix in Tryon also. And he's been training and working to have that strength to jump at this level. There we go, back-to-back clears there. John Dana going clear in 80.78. So nice inside that time allowed.
Yeah, that was a great ride from John. I have no doubt he will be going for it in the jump off.
For sure. Such a good job there. It's, you looked at the first half and one clear out of 20 that jumped, you get a little bit cautious as a course designer. It's definitely something I'm sure they were cautious of the first round, but they also are aware that the it's in reverse order of the qualifier, so you would hope that towards the end you get those more clears. Next in, we welcome the world number one. That is Ken Farrington. He is aboard Grea. This is an 11-year-old mare out of Colosse. They win everything. He's the best in the world.
He's up to 9 wins this year with this horse.
It's insane that
It's amazing.
I think before him this year, he beat his own record.
Yes, he did.
Because I think he had 6 on Giselle, and
Yes.
he's up to 8 or 9 now,
Mm-hmm.
which is unbelievable.
And again, the perfect type horse for this course.
Another one with a great string, and Kent and his team, and I know like Denise at home or here with Grea, they focus so much on the development of their horses, and he produces the most amazing horses to win and to jump. All of his are quite similar style, and he really focuses in on creating the fastest and the most careful horse, and that's also down to buying raw talent in a young horse and being able to spot that and
for sure.
produce it in a way that encourages them to develop on.
Definitely. Has a great eye for it.
I know one of his good horses, Milo, was sold the other day, but it's great he still has a load of horses to come in on. He could bring one of 5 other horses into this.
Yeah, he really has such a great string.
And he's definitely someone who has a plan in place for LA. Like
for sure.
He is so meticulous in the way he does everything.
Yep.
Are we surprised to clear around there in 80.79 for world number one, Ken Farrington, on his number one mount at the moment, Grea. And as you said, a course that suits her. She's hot, she's a little quirky, she's super careful, and he's definitely someone I'd be putting my money on in the jump off, I can tell you.
Definitely.
We have our 5 clear so far. So 4 of those coming from after the drag break. So it's interesting to see how that will change over the period of time, over the next 10 or 11 that we'll see in this first round. We welcome another Irish rider in today's $200,000 4-star Grand Prix. This is Stephen Moore. He is aboard Durabet. This is a 13-year-old gelding. Out of a Calvaro mare, which is interesting to see. These two, during pre-charter week, were placed in that Grand Prix, picking up a 6th place and also picking up some top results during the qualifier as well. So yeah, super cool to see them here, and very excited to also see. We haven't seen Stevie in this, at this level for a while, so it's great to see him here. He's such an amazing trainer. He works with Dara over at Oakland, and he's so good on the ground. It's nearly hard for them to then choose for him to show.
Definitely, it's great to see him back in this big ring at this level again.
That 7A just seeming to come up a little bit hot for him. But, something we've seen so far, and it's definitely been, what people are watching. That Decra Oxer seems to be more of a difficulty in the second round than the first.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, actually. That's quite interesting.
Like, it came down once in the first round, and then twice so far in the second round. Or second half, sorry.
The sun's going back away too. It might just be the way the light's changing as well, and blending right back into those banners along the edge of the ring.
Yeah, Stevie just coming home there with that 12 jumping and the 4 time falls. But as we said, one of the top placers in the qualifier. So I'm sure he's just learning and developing. And this is obviously much higher, more technical, and much more difficult than the qualifier we saw the other day. But definitely growing in that direction, which is amazing.
That's for sure.
Next in, we welcome Gabriella Reuter. She is aboard Maris Rock. This is a 15-year-old Irish mare out of OBOS quality as well. Second one we've seen, Tana Crocken's horse, I believe, is also out of OBOS quality. These two competed at the South American Games together, picking up some top results in Kentucky and in Tryon, and obviously going clear and finished up in about 11th place, I believe, in the qualifier.
You know, it's funny. Gabriella bought this horse to be competitive in the high junior amateur division, and you know, what a amazing, pleasant surprise that it's been that they're competing at this, not only competing at this level, but are competitive at this level. I think she's had it for about 6 years now.
Yeah, they're, you know, a long-term partnership that are developing and gearing towards, you know, the bigger stuff and getting that solid results at that higher level.
How many times are we up to 7A coming down here, Ellen?
We're 3 in the second round, and we had that 10 in the first round.
Wow. Yep.
It'll be interesting to see, you know, talking to the course designers after the class, and I'll be interested to know, did they think 7A was going to be such a problem?
Just landed a bit shallow at A. Lovely smooth ride though.
Yeah, 8 false start, 81.95. But overall positive round, as we said, good results in the qualifier. So some of these riders, you know, stepping up to that 4-star level for the first time since a break. Typically people tend to jump summer circuit, jump a little bit and fall, depending on indoors and results in Tryon on the way down to us here in Wellington International. 7th place in a 5-star Grand Prix qualifier there. So a 9-year-old, so a little bit young, and you know, we see a lot during pre-season the younger horses coming in because as of the 1st of January they all get a year older. So looking at an 8 or a 9-year-old in a class like this, you will be a little bit cautious of it, but at the same time an 8-year-old is turning 9 and a 9-year-old is turning 10. They should be experienced at this level if that's the plan for the horse.
Right.
Something he might have to be a little bit cautious of is the time allowed. You know, this horse has so much scope, which is fantastic, but it also wastes seconds in the air.
Blessing and a curse.
Yes, exactly. Just unlucky that middle part coming down once again. And that back bar of that last Oxford 14 also coming down. So 8 false there and 80.91. So inside the time allowed, and honestly nicely inside the time allowed, giving himself 3 and a bit seconds. So Mario, obviously a very experienced rider and has been around the world and done all the things. So I'm sure he knows well that when he has a horse with such scope, he has to cut corners, you know, where he can. He has to be a little bit cautious of that time allowed. Next in, we welcome Gonzalo Busca. He is aboard Cristiano Bletsky. This is a 10-year-old Hanoverian gelding by Cornetto Bletsky. So the two of these together picking up some top results, also here with us during Prix Charity Week. 5th in the Grand Prix qualifier that week, and that was a 3-star level. So stepping up the ranks now to that 4-star level, and coming into a Grand Prix with us. Also one of our clears from our qualifier. So I think he was 7th or 8th place. He finished up very fast, jump off as well.
Again, a lovely type for this type of course.
You know, we have a nice array of clears. We have those 5 so far. Definitely the sharper, faster horse seems to be, you know, suiting them a little bit more. But you look at Vanessa Hood's mount. Klitschko is big and stocky and big stride, and she was able to pull out of an excellent round that people with those bigger horses are struggling with.
Yeah, she had a great ride there.
Yeah, just coming back to that vertical. This, you know, the plank at the top, you don't typically, you know, a plank is definitely something that you point out. You walk, you're a little bit cautious of, tall vertical across the ring, and we haven't seen it come down once.
Which is interesting, especially, oh, that's a shame. Especially seeing it's upside down in the cups and it's very thin and black, and it's hard to see as you're coming to it.
Just that Oxer coming down again, once again. You know, coming down to your last Oxer, it's your last jump. It's big and square. Your horse is tired. It's jumped, you know, a very, very big, difficult round. So it's always unfortunate, though, when someone has the last jump down. You kind of breathe a sigh of relief and
coming home to the gate too. The horses know it's right there. It's 14 jumps in this course. It's long enough.
Next in, we will have about 6 left to go on the first round today. Tana Maria Macari is in next. She is aboard Dax 68. This is a 9-year-old Holsteiner gelding by Dicken. These two toured around Europe together, so choosing to come over to us here in Wellington. Also picking up some top results over the season. Great to have these riders are, you know, choosing to come to us more and more during preseason, which is great to see. We've a lot of, you know, Team GB over with us and a lot of, you know, mainland Europe coming and spending some time with us preseason, which is not typical. They normally, you know, the Europeans typically come into town the first week of January.
Tani Mara and this horse have come a long way in the past year. Gotten to know each other quite well and are a great team.
She seemed to have landed and took control, but then had to leave him a little bit.
Dax has such a big stride.
You know, overall, it's been a super positive course, and you know, jumps coming down everywhere. Which is great to see, and we love to see it. There's nothing worse than just watching one jump cause problems over and over again.
It's interesting too, going back to that plank for a second, it's set one hole from the top, so you really couldn't get much bigger than that. So again, I'm quite shocked it hasn't come down.
Yeah. It's definitely something I find, you know, I would feel that people would have flagged in the course walk. It's quite big. You're jumping towards, you know, there also is a gate at the end of that ring. It's not the in gate, but it is still a gate that has a gap that horses, you know, could see, but seems to be, you know, jumping fantastically. There's no been huge problems with it either, that people are getting lucky. So great to see, and it's also nice to, you know, have a jump that they can take a little bit of a breath at. Next in, we welcome Erin Ballard. She is aboard Dior. This is an 11-year-old mare. These two super successful together. Always, Erin is a spectacular rider. She's one we talk about time and time again, about her ability to ride any horse there is. She is super owners with Elon Furter and his team there, and he has such good quality horses, and she gets to ride all different types, but always super, super quality.
Yeah, Erin's a wonderful rider. Grew up in the U.S. equitation system, and I mean, she rides so beautifully, so correct, and so effective, and so competitive all at the same time. It's nice
and
to
she
see.
is such, you know, the equitation kind of comes back to it, is that elegant rider. She you know, one of the best signs people will say about a good rider is that you think they're doing nothing.
Yes,
and
exactly.
she's always someone who is very subtle with her hands, very subtle with her legs, has that connection constantly with her horse, and is so connected to every horse she has.
She is, and she's very effective and clearly is doing a lot, but she stays so centered on the horse. It's really nice to watch, and it's something I try and emulate in my own riding.
She has such a immaculate style on everything she does. You know, as we said, riding for Elon Furter, she's been, you know, gifted good horses. She got to go to the Paris Olympics last year. So, you know, we always need those supporters in the sport also. There we go, Erin Ballard giving us a clear in 82.08. On Elon Furter's yours, so great to see that Erin will be coming back to us again. Our sixth to go clear, and our first Canadian rider in our jump off. We have 4 left in today's $200,000 Holiday and Horses 4-Star Grand Prix presented by Arthramid. 6 clears so far with a mix of all different nationalities, which is great to see here in Wellington International. The first of those 4 remaining will be the USA's Carly Anthony. She is aboard Heavenly W. This is a 13-year-old gelding by Calvaro. These two were also part of the winning all women's American Nations Cup team here in Wellington last year. So great to have her back, and she's someone I actually watched in the presentation, and so happy and so grateful. And you definitely saw how much it meant to her to be part of that team, and also a contributing factor to them winning gold.
Oh, definitely. This pair they've been together for quite a few years now. Know each other really well. Always great competitors.
Rolled but stayed up, but got that back bar of that oxer. I bet your riders probably want them to get rid of that Palm Beach equine clinic. Because as I said yesterday, it was a jump that came down the most also.
Yeah.
But it was in a different position. It was similar to where 10 was, but it was still the jump that kept coming down over and over again. Even if they had the opportunity to add or to take one out, but over and over again, it was very interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely the bogey fence more often than not.
Beautiful, just very unlucky.
Very unlucky. Great course, nice end.
Yeah, you know, looking back at that again, you would think, and you would, lead to believe that she was so cautious about the first part of it that she kind of took a little bit of a breath maybe, and just came back on that second part and just needed to give, coming into that double, you want to be super quiet, but maybe just needed a little bit more support for the horse over that big oxer.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the case, and probably just a little bit of luck as well.
For sure.
That's our bogey fence.
Yeah. Next in the ring, we are seeing Stephanie Macara. She is aboard Novak. This is a 12-year-old gelding by Katoki. These two are another one that spent their summers in Europe, competed in the 5-star Grand Prix at the Brussels Masters, which was great, and also picking up 4th in a 4-star Grand Prix towards the end of this year. On those 6 clears so far, very, very well done.
Definitely.
Another exciting rider for us to have here in Wellington International for pre-season. We look at season, and once we start the Winter Equestrian Festival, it's extremely difficult for riders to get a horse into FEI here because you're competing with the best of the world. Henrik van Eckermann comes over to us, Ben Mayer comes over to us. We have a lot of the top, Christian Kukuk, of course, winning our Rolex Grand Prix 2 years in a row, so that's always interesting to have on his Olympic gold medal mount. But it's so hard to get in that it's nice, for riders that won't typically get in during season, get an opportunity to go clear in a 4-star Grand Prix.
Definitely, and that was a great ride.
Really nice. They're giving us our 7th clear, so definitely a good week first. She was 4th in the qualifier, and now giving us a clear, and our only 7th clear out of the 439 we've seen so far. We have definitely an exciting lineup so far for the jump off with those 3 remaining, and as I said, this is our top 3 from the qualifier, so definitely people you would expect or presume to go clear, really.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very fast jump off,
which we love to see.
Love to see.
Just waiting for our first of 3 remaining to come into the ring. That will be another member of Team Israel. This is Daniel Blumen. Another one of our top athletes in that top 20 in the world, so it's great to have him here during pre-season, choosing to spend his winter fall circuit with us before we gear up for the Winter Equestrian Festival. Daniel is aboard Capital L. This is a 10-year-old mare by Cornetto Blinsky, so another Cornetto Blinsky sire here. These two were the winners of a 5-star speed in Greenwich in September, also picking up top placings throughout the whole summer. Team Blumen is definitely an operation that is run very successfully. The cousins and the brothers and all of them together, they focus so much on producing the next horse, and Daniel really focusing on developing his next 5-star horse and making sure he has backups also, which is great to see out of a 5-star athlete.
Definitely. He's just stepped this horse up to the bigger level in the past year or so. Hallie Grimes actually had it and was competing it as well. Lovely type.
It's 3 years away. It's very hard to prep for something that's 3 years away when you're working with an animal that you have to, honestly, any horse. There we go, Daniel Blumen giving us a clear, our 8th clear, so no surprise there, but he'll be definitely someone to watch in the jump off, always fast, and as of now will be the last to go in the jump off with those two remaining. But looking at the Olympics, and honestly any show that most shows that you guys go to and travel to, is your team at home has to be so cautious of like the weather and the conditions, and obviously the horses down here are not so used to the humidity we have in Florida, the heat we have in Florida. It's also been super cold the last couple of days, so they've had to ride in the cold, and we just got a rainstorm a second ago, and it's lovely now. So, your team at home is so important to make sure that, the things that they see on a regular basis and, you see as a rider, you must really communicate with each other to make sure that you're getting the best out of the horse. It's, so important to have a good team.
So important.
Currently in the ring, we have our second place finisher from the Grand Prix qualifier. That is Canada's Chris Pratt. Chris is aboard Ideal ES. This is a 12-year-old gelding by Ukuro. These two super successful together. I actually was educated on the fact that he watched his horse be developed. Another guy was riding it, and he watched it develop, and then when it came to the next level, Chris took over the ride and really has produced an amazing horse. Super careful, super fast, and it's also great to see Chris, picking up those top results at the top level.
Definitely. Chris is a wonderful rider, wonderful trainer, wonderful person. He's done a great job with this horse. It's nice to see, a bit of a different type than Lollipop, who he was second on in the welcome, but this one's just as competitive.
As you said, such a great horseman as well. During the Young Horse Championships in Michigan this year, he was picked as our top young horse rider, as well as his owners being the top owner for that week, and that's great to see. That vertical, I think maybe we jinxed it. The vertical at 12 coming down there, as well as with that final part of that triple combination coming down as well. But, very solid. The mare seemed to a little bit run out of steam towards the end, and, maybe that caught up to him to such a big vertical across the school. But overall, super positive.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit, the mare just shifted slightly in the air over that plank.
Our last to go and our winner of our Grand Prix qualifier is Nina Malavey, number 1 in the under 25 rankings at the moment. She is aboard My Clementine, which is her mount that she won our Grand Prix qualifier with. I was here with Sydney Showman Desiderio on Friday when we watched the Grand Prix qualifier, and this athlete, she's so young, but she's so wise beyond her years. She's won 5-star Grand Prix, plenty of 5-star classes. She's truly gifted, and we talk about owners, and she's so fortunate to have such a great family like the Rain family behind her, backing her and believing in her and giving her the opportunity to have such amazing horses.
Definitely. Nina is such a wonderful rider and horsewoman as well. And this horse is just so special. It's so exciting to see how far they've come and how they'll continue to develop.
Just unlucky that triple bar coming down.
Yeah, maybe a little bit through that turn. It's kind of hard to see. Unfortunate.
That whole line is just, people are so cautious of it, and different people are right. Nobody has typically gone down there and been totally fine the whole way. They've,
Right.
you know, it's very hard as a rider to watch and still not know what to do down there,
Right.
because nobody is doing it bang on exactly the way you'd like to.
Mm-hmm.
Or for those who have, they might be the same style of horse as you.
Exactly. And again, even if you have your plan set, you could come in and just not have a great distance in.
Nina coming home with there with the 8 false and 80.84. I'm sure it's probably a result that, you know, she wasn't aiming for, but at the same time won the Grand Prix qualifier. Super positive rider, recently coming over from Europe. So, you know, the horse's super ability. No huge problems either. You know, she came in forward and just clipped that back bar of that triple bar so lightly. And then, you know, the triple combination has been such an issue for the second round. It seems to pop up a lot more since the first. But overall, super positive, no issues, you know, for Nina. We have our A clears, so that Nina was our last in that first round. So we have those A clears. First to go will be Hallie Grimes, then Vanessa Hood, Ireland Shane Sweetenham, Jad Dana, Ken Farrington, Aaron Ballard, Stephanie Makara, and Daniel Blumen. So those 8 we will see in the jump off. Very exciting, you know, jump off to see. Very good course. We saw jumps coming down everywhere. First round, that vertical at 7A came down 10 times. Second round only came down 4, or 5, sorry. Yes, still an issue, but not so much of an issue. But as we said, reverse order of the qualifier, so definitely something that we, you know, we're conscious of, and we know that, you know, typically the better riders come out the further end and produce those clears for us. So we're going to take a quick touch-up break, remove any obstacles we do not need for the jump off. We'll return in about 10 minutes or so for the jump off of the $200,000 Holiday and Horses 4-Star Grand Prix presented by Arthramid, excuse me. We're so thankful here in Wellington International to have Arthramid as one of our supporters. Arthramid is a trusted name in veterinary medicine around the world. A joint injection that delivers a cutting-edge treatment that improves joint health in horses and dogs, including both early and late stages of synovitis and osteoarthritis. Learn more at www.arthramid.com. As I said, just about 10 minutes away from our jump off, we're going to do a quick touch-up of the surface, remove any obstacles we don't need, and we'll be back for our 8-horse jump off in today's 4-Star Grand Prix.
Championships are powered by nutrition. Nutrina Pro Force feeds fuel your horses every step, whether you're navigating a grueling course, executing a half pass, or galloping to the final fence. Powered by Digestive Shield for optimal gut health and rebound technology for faster recovery, Pro Force supports your horse's peak performance so they're ready to dominate again. Pro Force. Defend. Recover. Perform.
tells you how quickly they move into your heart, or how quietly they become your whole world. They'll teach you patience without a word, courage without a question. You're not crazy. They just don't know horses like we do.
Bainbridge is a fully integrated multifamily real estate company who have developed and acquired more than 43,000 units, representing $8.1 billion in transactions since inception. With over 650 associates nationally, Bainbridge engages in virtually every step of the real estate process, from development and construction, acquisition and disposition, asset management, and third-party management of multifamily real estate. Bainbridge is an award-winning, nationally ranked developer, owner, and builder of luxury multifamily communities across the eastern U.S. and Southeast. Our team of experienced and knowledgeable professionals is devoted to creating exceptional living experiences for all of our residents and building lasting and mutually beneficial relationships with our partners and clients. Bainbridge is headquartered in Wellington, Florida, with offices and apartment communities in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Maryland, Texas, and Virginia. To learn more, visit www.bainbridgecompanies.com.
In competition, there is always a line. Sometimes it is set by someone else, a finish line, a time on the clock, a height to be cleared. Other times, we draw it ourselves as a discipline to be mastered, a goal to be achieved, a personal record to be broken. The line dares us to cross it. This line is the difference between joy and despair, success and disappointment. We chase it because we know that in some way it is a measure of our worth. And when we cross it, we do so not as an end in itself, but as the beginning of the next chapter. Vitaflex, the fine line between good and great.
So just about 3 minutes away from picking back up here in the international jump off qualifiers. Like second with Klitschko 17. Third on the jump off list with Z. Now going fourth with Hitchcock, Ken Farrington. Fifth jump off list with Brea. Eric Ballard going sixth with Dior. Stephanie Mashera. And Daniel with that coveted final spot on the list. We'll review the jump-off track that our horse and rider combinations will be taking for the bonus round here this afternoon. Jump-off track beginning on the VIP side of the ring at the vertical at 13 feet. What's left of that triple combination landing 13 feet. It'll be a right-hand turn 180 degrees coming back up the ring to the Horseware Ireland Oxer at fence number 10. Turning left, approaching the Zyko San Oxer at 11 with the water tray underneath and on the jury box. And then continuing.
Welcome back to Wellington International. We are back again for the $200,000 Holiday Inn Horses CSI 4-star Grand Prix. Here for our jump off, we will see 8 in our jump off today. Course will begin for the jump off over 13B. So part A and C removed. Definitely a vertical that caused some problems in the start, but it'll be interesting to see how it develops as the first obstacle in the jump off. Rolling back then to that big Horseware Ireland Oxer at 10. Then down the far end of the ring to the big Y Oxer at 11, that Decra Oxer down there that has caused more issues in the jump off, or the second half of the first round, excuse me, than we initially anticipated after the first half. Then they roll back around the gazebo to 7A and B, which is definitely our dodgy obstacle that we saw in the first round coming down the most by a lot. Rolling down then to 8, that big vertical, that sandcastle vertical that didn't really come down in the first round, but it'll be interesting to see how people ride that distance now of how they choose to come down to that vertical at 8. Turning back around to that big wall at 9 that also didn't cause too many problems, and then finishing over that Arthramid Vets, then coming down to the Arthramid Vets at 16, and then the last obstacle in the jump off will be that Arian vertical there down by the in-gate. So definitely an exciting jump off. We've great people to see. Once again, this is the $200,000 Holiday Inn Horses 4-star Grand Prix presented by Arthramid Vets. The gate is up and we're waiting for our first competitor to walk in. First to go will be Hallie Grimes. She was our only clear in the first half before the drag break, so definitely one to watch. She's always super fast, super hot mare. So it'll be great to see what Hallie decides to do in this jump off. I'm Ellen Sweetenham. I'm back again with Samantha Kasowitz. Stuck around for the jump off, so thank you very much, Sammy. I know you have plenty of horses to do and all that, so thank you very much for sticking around for this jump off.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. What an honor. This is my first time commentating and I love it.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Jump off course, as I said, starting over 13B. Sammy, when you walked the first round, was there any lines you walked for the jump off that you might do differently or looked at?
10 to 11, I think, we said most people were doing it off their eye, but if you were going to count, it would be 9 or 10. I think we're going to see I think some people are definitely going to do 8s. I think 9's going to be the standard number. I think we're going to see a lot more 7 strides from 7B to 8. And then coming home, I walked an 8. I think 8's the most common, and I think with the crowd we have today, we're going to see some 7s. Oh, yeah, for sure. These people are going to give it a run for their money. As you say, first in our Pathfinder in the jump off today is Hallie Grimes on Caroline of Balmore. Coming down that line there, Hallie took her time to come to that double at 7A and B, but is flowing constantly and keeping tight. But she definitely knew that, 7 was such an issue in the first round that, to err on the side of caution. Really nice there. Great Pathfinder.
Yeah, Hallie giving a very solid round there in 45.78. There's definitely places you see that, people might make up some more time, as you said, going down into 7A and B. A little cautious, but rode it beautifully. She knows her mare very well.
Yes.
She knows what she can do, and she knows where she can make up time, and also where she needs to, take a little bit of a breath.
Next rider on
second to go in the jump off will be Vanessa Hood. She is aboard Klitschko 17. A different mount. And honestly, he's quite different than all the rest of the horses in the jump off.
Still an incredibly lovely type. Just
100%.
like you said, different than the rest.
But bigger striding, and they're always the one that are a little bit deceiving because they eat up ground and make time without even looking like they are.
Definitely. Massive stride too, so I'm sure he'll get down those lines with a bit more ease.
Oh, just unlucky that first vertical at 13 coming down. The course designing team really seeming to enjoy Yeah, Vanessa just rolling back to that, just not coming up with what she wanted. But as you said, super experienced rider and horse combination, jumped to the European Championships, and definitely, super positive first round, just not coming up the way she wanted to, and, rolling back off 13 to 10. I think it's hard to see from the camera angle, but 10 is more forward than 13B is. So you can't land off 13 and turn. You have to land and come out a little bit before you turn, which is hard for a rider in a jump off to do. You typically would like to land and turn, so it's hard to just land, give yourself a second and then turn, especially coming to a big vertical like that. You want to just be solid and straight and balanced.
Definitely. And now you have just the B element of that triple, which appears independently as a bit of a plain, smaller vertical, especially compared to number 10.
Yeah, for sure. Next in, we will welcome Ireland's Shane Sweetnam. He is aboard Corrine van Klapshoot Z. These were the winners of our 3-star Grand Prix during pre-charity week, so definitely ones to watch.
I think for sure you saw the tour Shane made when he came in, had a good look at that last jump.
Shane is a super experienced rider, has jumped so many speed rounds, Grand Prix, different horses. Just unlucky there. You take the gamble to come into 7A with Canter and you don't know what you're going to do there.
It's hard to get rolling and then back up the way you want to, especially like we've been saying, the way those standards and poles are.
Yeah, because that's so delicate. That 7A, it's, it'll be interesting to go see how heavy that pole actually is. Shane there just coming home with the 4 faults in 42.46, so 3.5 seconds faster than Hallie Grimes, but you need to keep all those jumps up.
Yeah, he's always fast, that's for sure. Hallie did a great job setting the pace. I still feel that we have a few riders that will give her a run for her money.
Yeah, for sure. And there's still only 8 in the jump off, so these riders still are playing for money.
Definitely.
A fast 4 faulter, it's currently in second place. You would expect to see more double clears, but you never know. Next in, someone who's a very, very fast rider once again, we have Jad Dana. He is aboard Hitchcock de Dems. Just seemed to come into one quiet and
came
roll
up
back
perfectly.
nicely. Yeah. You really have to ride one as if it's a normal class and just come in easy and quiet and then just get that smooth turn back and then you can really open up. The first part coming down once again. Hallie took a hold coming down to it, but she did such a good job and, rode it super well that she was tied everywhere and fast, but it gave herself that extra bit coming to 7A. Just coming home there on the 4 faults at 7A, coming down in 44.48, starting himself into 3rd place for now. Shane Sweetnam still being our fastest, but with that 4 faults in 42.46. And Hallie Grimes are only double clear so far, holding on to that top spot in 45.78. 4 gone, 4 to go. So it'll be interesting to see. We do have a very packed lineup for the last 4. Definitely 3 that are going to try their best and see, and obviously world number 1 is someone that's going to contend with that. Ken Farrington comes in now on Greya, and definitely someone you can't count out. She's so fast, so careful. She turns in a hairpin. She's eats ground. It's a pleasure to watch 2 of them together, her for sure and 2 of them together. Here in Wellington, it's such a privilege as, a fan of the sport to see such high caliber with us.
Yeah, we're so lucky to have this right in our home.
Time to beat is set by Hallie Grimes in 45.78, but keeping all those jumps up. It'll be interesting to see what he does here. Took a hole, but not so much. Still galloped down and just kept the connection, but Greya, she's a phenomenal animal to watch, and her technique and her ability to jump is quite phenomenal.
Such a good competitor.
And there we go. Double clear there in 39.34. Do we call it now? Then who else is going to catch that? Can people even catch it?
Oh, it's hard to say. I think Erin and Dior have I mean, she's naturally such a fast rider.
And quite big stride also,
Yes.
which helps.
Yes.
But
He's so efficient everywhere.
everywhere, and just kept going. Had that good canter, came into one little quiet, but got a super tight turn back, and that's really her skill is turning.
Yeah, I think too he did 8 down that last line, and I don't know how much time it would save doing 7.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how much time because he was just so efficient everywhere.
Yeah, Aaron Ballard comes into us now trying to take on world number 1's time of 39.34. She's aboard Dior, owned by Elon Furter once again. Oh, she's coming at an angle to one for real. It's great to see, we've 8 people in the jump off, high caliber, 4-star, good horses, good riders, and these riders really know their horses well to know what works for them, of what way they want to get a turn. Just unfortunate that Decra Oxer coming down, but came into the double beautifully.
Looked like she was already preparing for her run off to the double. It didn't come up exactly how she wanted.
I don't think, maybe I'm incorrect in saying it, but I don't think 11 was something that people were cautious of.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't. I think too. That's not your biggest concern in this jump off.
You're more concerned about 7A where you're coming to afterwards.
And the last, and the wall still.
Yeah, jumping down at an angle. Erin just coming home there with the 4 falls in 44.42. Selling herself into 4th place, so still a good time. And, she definitely took the pedal off the gas after she had that fence down, but still super efficient. And, as we said, still, in the money. And 4th place in a $200,000 Grand Prix is great, and it's great here in Wellington International that we have such good prize money and a real incentive for riders to come to us, and those riders that are competing at such a high level, for us to be able to offer great prize money is a great incentive for those top guys to come over to us and compete with us here.
Oh, definitely competing against the best of the best in a wonderful facility. And like you said, 4th place is not a bad place to be in a class like this.
No, for sure not. Oh, with the lineup that is in the jump off and the first round even, it's great to see, and we've such a high caliber of rider and horses here with us pre-season. Stephanie Macra currently in the ring with us, coming down to that bogey fence at 7A, and just picking that up also.
It's a shame. She tried to set it up and give herself a better chance, and that double's so bogey.
I think after the class we have to go out and see how light that pole is.
Yeah, let's go see if we can breathe on it and it comes down.
Oh. Yeah, just trying to do that 7, and as you said, it's so difficult to do, and people really have to commit from the get-go, and it's difficult because you're coming to the Arthramid Oxer at an angle, so you're automatically coming out, so that adds a little bit more extra distance to make up to try and get that 7.
And you're coming directly to the gate. Horses are probably have their eyes on it. Again, now I feel like too it adds another element that the water tray is gone, because it just blends in even more now.
White poles, gapey. It doesn't help for horses that it's standing right at the gate when they want to go home. Our last to go will be Israel's Daniel Blumen. He's aboard Capital L. If anybody can beat Ken's time, it's Daniel. Time to beat is set by Ken Farrington, 39.34. So it'll be interesting to see. As you said, a less experienced horse for Daniel, but always someone that will always try his best in a jump off to win.
Oh, definitely. I think, this horse is quick, but Greya is just so fast across the ground.
And so fast across the jumps also.
Exactly.
That Oxer 11 coming down for Daniel Blumen, so our winner will be Ken Farrington on Greya, but as you said, a newer horse for Daniel. He's focusing on the future with it, but definitely such a nice horse, and excited to see what it develops into in the future. And we'll get to see the development of it here, which is great.
Such a lovely type, so scopy, and not the biggest horse out here.
So nice. That'll definitely be an exciting pair for Daniel to develop and have him in his back pocket for the future. So it'll be cool to see. Top spot goes to world number 1. I'm sure nobody's surprised about that. Ken Farrington takes that top spot with Greya, which, watching her round, it's phenomenal to see. It's a privilege, as we said, to watch the world number 1 with Greya, who's, one of the best horses in the world right now. So that's fantastic to see. Hallie Grimes take that second place. Only 2 double clears today, which is surprising, but also you look at 7A being in the jump off, that definitely doesn't help anything. It came down 3 times with people out of the 8 that we saw in the jump off. Shane Sweetenham taking that 3rd place spot with our fastest 4 falter. Aaron Ballard in 4th, Jad Dana in 5th. 6th place going to Stephanie Makara, 7th going to Daniel Blumen, and Vanessa Hood closing out that jump off in 8th. But just, unfortunate, but also very positive round. Peter de Brabandier was our fastest 4 falter in the first round. Charlotte Jacobs finishes up in 10th. Oscar Holsker Jr. in 11th. And Gonzalo Busca finishes up in 12th. So closing out that top 12 for us. So a very exciting lineup we had. And it's great to see such high caliber of jumping. And great to Arthramid Vets for their support. And Arthramid is a very good sponsor or supporter of us here at the annual series, as well as being a supporter during season, and then obviously the sponsor of today's $200,000 4-star Grand Prix, which is great, and we're very fortunate in Wellington International to have such good sponsors. So the $200,000 Holiday and Horses class, as I said, sponsored by Arthramid. Arthramid is a trusted name in veterinary medicine around the world. A joint injection that delivers cutting-edge treatment that improves joint health in horses and dogs, including both early and late stages of synovitis and osteoarthritis. Learn more at www.arthramid.com. So just waiting on our prize giving now. World number 1, Ken Farrington, as I said, takes us top spot. Hallie Grimes in second with our only 2 double clears, which was great. And Shane Sweetenham will close out our podium as our fastest 4 falter. Time to beat is set by Hallie Grimes in 45.78, but keeping all those jumps up. It'll be interesting to see what he does. As we said, we're fortunate enough to have such good riders and horses in today's class. That closes out our coverage here for Holiday and Horses Week 1. We do have a National Grand Prix after this, so make sure you stay tuned to watch that as well. Once again, this was the 200,000 Holiday and Horses 4-star Grand Prix presented by Arthramid. I'm Ellen Sweetenham, and I was joined today by Sammy Kasowitz. Sammy, thank you very much for staying with me for the class.
Ellen, thank you for having me. This was a great class to watch and great company.
Thanks. We'll be back next week for more good jumping here in Wellington International, so make sure you tune in again, and you can continue watch as you see world number 1 come in to be presented with the winning spot in today's class.